3, 2, 1. Cool.
That's shit.
Yeah.
No, it's better.
It's fine.
Happy 2026.
We're back.
We're back.
New year, new change.
New year and lots of changes.
Yep.
In this episode, I think we're gonna discuss changes.
Yep.
Right. When's the right time to change and how
Yep.
we are
We're talking about architecture-wise, right? Career-wise.
adapting that change
Yeah.
as well.
Because at some point in an architectural career, the question isn't how to get in, it's whether you still want to stay within the career or within a certain practice. So today's episode is more about that moment, not as a student, not as a fresh part one or part two, but of a mid-career seasoned architect. We're talking to an architect, Daz, today, who made the call to leave what he knew in Birmingham to move to London and join a world-renowned practice. So we're unpacking what prompted that move, but also what it's really like starting again in a new city within a mid-career level, and then what the opportunities are, and also what the challenges are. So we're going to talk about some of the wins, some of the losses throughout that journey. So without further ado, Daz, shall we jump right in?
You're making it sound like I'm like a guest. It's nice to be on this end of the seat, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. And if you've ever felt stuck, restless, or unsure about where the profession can take you, maybe this episode might be for you. So we'll talk about it from a very honest, candid perspective. We'll talk about your recent change and recent move, and what that's prompted.
Yeah.
But should we start off? Let's set the scene then. So you were in Birmingham for a good 5-6 years, following your part 3. You worked at Howells. How was that like, first and foremost, and then what prompted you to make a move?
I think I mean the main question is why people make a move when they get comfortable, right? And then I don't know whether if there are a lot of people out there thinking about the same thing, but this is probably an episode from one perspective, my perspective, why I've done it, and me being like getting close to the mid-30s, actually mid-30s now. Is it a good time to change? What baggage does that have to have and carry?
Exactly.
Because by the time you get to this stage of your career, like a senior architect, you've developed a certain trade, and then you get comfortable in working in one environment, and having to shift that change. It's for some people and it's not for others.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think we're going to talk about all of that. I mean, AB, for yourself, you're sort of getting into your part 3 now, right? Finishing part
2 and then approaching part 3 soon.
There's always a career trajectory in terms of where you want to see yourself in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, I think it's always good to have a career roadmap in place, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong of a roadmap. It's what you want to achieve. It's very common within maybe youngsters. So similarly, did you have a career roadmap as part of your mid-career, senior architect sort of career roadmap maybe?
That's the thing. I didn't really have a roadmap because I think one of the reasons is because I didn't know enough.
Yeah. Enough about the industry or enough about what you wanted to achieve?
Enough about what I wanted.
Okay.
I don't think I've reflected enough as an architect or as a person in terms of where I see myself in 5-10 years. And I think we probably need to touch base on that in the episode, is what type of architect you want to become.
Absolutely.
And then that will probably drive your decisions within the career, whether it's within one company or different companies.
So what was your role like then when you were at Howells? So when you qualified as a part 3, when you became an architect, because you stayed there for a good 5-6 years, so there must have been some positives, right?
Yeah.
And then what was it that prompted a move?
It's interesting because I think with every person, they have a different experience.
Yeah.
And every person have different experience in individual companies. Your experience at your current company will be very much different than someone else's.
Absolutely.
Mine, I can only speak for myself. So this really doesn't apply to everyone that works at the same company. Mine was it was a great one, but at the same time, I felt somewhat slow paced for me, for my own career growth at times. So I really have to keep pushing for like the next project and get into more of like leading role, project role, because that's when you really learn the most, right? Because when everything is when you're in a project, you really want to be able to make key decisions that you own those decisions. Like the proudest moment for me is probably when I pitched that the building should be a certain way,
Mhm.
and then the directors or the project lead or your senior line manager take that decision forward,
Yep.
and then you can say in your portfolio, I was a driven factor for that particular design.
Yep.
And I think that should be the goal for everybody um, within sort of design, right?
Yeah.
It's to share your understanding of what looks.
No, that's a very interesting point because you're right. Sometimes even once you qualify, just because you're now an architect doesn't mean that I can do whatever, because in larger structured companies and organizations, there will be senior project architects or senior project leads and partners who get to decide the design or make the decisions. So as a junior, you have to ask for something. And it goes back to the point that we always say, when if you don't ask for things, the people above you will think everything's great. So until you keep asking them and you have that drive and passion, you might not get the opportunity. So I suppose you have to push for something when you want it, because not everyone else will share the same sentiment or same mindset that you have. And until you make your career goals or your aspirations public and known to the people that you work with, they won't know what they are. So if you want to work on a certain type of project or a certain sector or a certain scale, then you have to quite literally, almost knock on the door constantly and regularly. When you have your biannual reviews or monthly reviews, how it might be quarterly reviews, you've got to discuss these things and work towards it.
Absolutely. And I think, to be honest, everyone that's currently in similar situation where they feel whether stagnant or whether they're not getting enough exposure is to constantly push for it. I was getting exposure towards projects, but I was just not. So with me, it's very sort of lopsided, if you may. Up to all the way up to part 3, I didn't join. I wasn't at House. I was at different companies, which we've talked about in previous episodes. But it was very much stage 4, so during construction stage, that sort of period. That was my experience. I joined House because of their their leading in design perspective. So I joined House literally when I just graduated as an architect, and then for that 5-6 years, I didn't manage to get on site for 5 to 6 years. And then for me, a huge aspect of as an architect is the technical. I really enjoyed the technical aspect of it. Whilst I'm a really good designer, but I also really enjoyed putting things together because it's essentially a problem solving game, right? And that's where all my collaboration skill sets were built prior to me joining House. And funny enough, when I towards the very late stage of my time at House, I was put on stage 3 and 4, and I felt amazing. I felt like this was where I should always been. So I guess one of the main thing is to answer the question, when's the right time to move? Is down to the individual whether or not if they're enjoying what they're doing at the current role. For me, I was like, it took me 5 years to realize that I love collaboration. Stage 3 is me. Stage 3 and 4 is me. Construction is also for me, whilst also having a developed a keen eye for design.
Yeah, absolutely. So was it, if you were to answer objectively, was there one key drive or key move or one thing that prompted you to move, or was it a sort of a combination of different things over the years? Like it's not necessarily good or bad. It's just maybe you got to a point where, like you said, it was sort of slowed down a bit, or you felt as if you're doing the same thing constantly over and over again.
That's a really good question, because I think I'll probably speak for myself, obviously, but I can probably speak for a few peoples out there where if they're starting to think about moving to a different practice, it's never just one factor. It will never be just because of, they're not paying me enough, or I'm not enjoying the project. This, from what I understand, or someone that's actually from a recruitment agency said to me really interestingly, what keeps a person motivated within the practice always comes down to 3 factors. The people that you work with, being awarded enough for your effort, and whether or not you enjoy what you're doing.
Is money not a part of it?
Which is the rewarding bit. Are you rewarded enough for it? Meaning
remuneration,
paid enough.
Right.
So so all those three things are crucial,
Yep.
and without one of, so I guess as an architect or whoever is in the professional industry, is to think about those three things,
Mhm.
and then if you lack of one, can you push that to where you want it to be?
Yep.
If you lack of two, then you're really thinking about, okay, why am I here?
Yep.
If all three are missing, I think that's
It's
your
time for a
signal.
move. Okay.
So for me, to answer your question, I had a great time at House.
Yep.
Everybody there was amazing.
Yep.
I developed a very, I think, comfortable career,
Mhm.
and it was very challenging as well. But what prompted me to move, like I said, it wasn't one thing; it was multiple things. First of all, I think just to be sort of completely clear, one of the reasons that prompted me to move is because of opportunity of a very prestigious firm.
Yep.
I mean, I can mention what it is. I mean, obviously it's Foster's,
Yeah.
and then there's obviously a huge aspect in terms of the name, the experience, and to feel what it's like to work with one of the top firms in the world.
Yep.
That's one thing, and then I think one other thing actually prompted me is that if I don't do it now,
Mhm.
at the age of 35, I might not think of doing that.
Yeah.
And then that is actually the same thing when you're like maybe 30 or even younger. Like
Yeah.
everyone has a different timeline. So yeah.
So I think my next question was going to be why London and why Fosters and Partners, because you've sort of answered it. Because look, think about it, in London, there's so many great, well-renowned practices, so many great design orientated practices. So what was it about Fosters and Partners that caught your eye, maybe, or that you said, okay, yeah, that's the practice I want to work for?
I would say probably like Meet Your Heroes is one of the reason. As in, I've always from day one
Mm-hmm.
when I joined uni, I knew Fosters and Partners.
Yeah.
I love the buildings, and then it's always like, wouldn't say a dream of mine, but it was like, if I get the opportunity, I will never turn it down.
Yeah.
And it's why London as well. London wasn't my first choice,
Yep.
but being a British qualified architect, it was my skill set was way more aligned with London rather than anywhere else because I haven't worked on the international project. And funny enough, after I joined the practice, I'm not on I'm not on a London project,
Okay.
but which actually has given me has sort of made me even more confident that I've made the right move because I always want to work on a project that's not within the UK and see what that regulation's like.
So do you feel like now this move to London is a step forward, or are you just towing sideways a little bit before you feel as if you've progressed forward, or is it a step backwards?
I think you'll be forward and backwards in different aspects.
Okay.
So I think in a career way, I would feel like yes, it's a step forward,
Right.
because going to London, first of all, okay, let's break it down. Going to London, first of all, is very expensive.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's a step forward or not because I'm literally paying through my nose for all of the expenses just to live there. It's
So
like
paycheck to paycheck almost.
It's quite expensive.
Yeah.
So, and then whereas in Birmingham, I've got my place. I can live by myself. I have my own space.
Yep.
In London, I'm sharing with two other guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in terms of living, and this will probably not work for someone that has a family.
Yep.
Right. For me at the moment, it works because I am quite free. So I think from a life perspective, you need to see where you are in life.
Very good point. Yeah.
Right. And then from a career perspective, I think I'm taking a step forward because I'm doing a project with some of the best designers in the world, with the best consultants in the world, and they're all within the same campus. It being a multi-disc office, meaning the guy behind me is my MEP engineer.
Oh, okay.
And then the guy downstairs is my structure engineer. So I can literally ask them questions. I don't have to wait. Okay. There's good and bad for that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like project wise, I feel like I'm sometimes living a dream with
what you
where I am at the moment.
That's good
because you're looking at the Thames, the river. You come out, you're like, you have to really sometimes don't get me wrong, there are late hours, late nights, but then sometimes you have to stop and think, look at where you are. Like, you know,
Yeah,
it's
you've come a long way.
yeah, I've come a long way, especially for a kid that has like gone through so many different um, treadstones
Yeah,
along the way. I'm really,
challenges, hurdles,
yeah,
different
exactly.
things. Yeah.
I'm really happy that I made this decision, and I think if I didn't make this move, I'll always question myself.
Okay, I want you to be quite honest with yourself here now and vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you've made the move where you were comfortable for about 5, 6 years in one practice, so you're quite established. You knew everyone around you, people knew you. You've made a move now to a really big, supersized machine where there's, I don't know how many, what, 2,000 people or something across the two campuses. So does imposter syndrome ever kick in? Did it kick in when you were there for the first few months? Because you've been there now for a good chunk of time, a good portion of time. So even at a mid-career level, does imposter syndrome still kick in?
I think that for me, it's it's a little bit different. I think for me, it doesn't quite work that way
Mhm.
because I'm always quite confident, and but at the same time, I'm also very what's the word? At the same time, I'm also very
Conservative,
no, what's the word opposite to being very like big headed? Like if someone's
humble.
humble,
Yeah,
exactly. So whilst I know that what I'm doing, but if a part two comes up to me and tell me to like change the plans in a certain way, I would discuss it with him and why, and then I would I would step back, think about whether or not if what he said is true.
yeah,
Like for example, the plan that I'm working at the moment, because you'd be so like stuck into you get so snowblind on what you're doing. Someone else could come in and have an idea, and all you need to do is take the pride aside,
yeah, of
and
course.
then actually just think about. So in terms of imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
sometimes I can say yes because I was at some point I'll be like, um, it's not like I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah,
This is incredible. Like I can't believe I can do this because at my probation, I was reassured actually that I'm very good at my job,
okay.
at what I do, and to be completely honest, um, I feel so fulfilled, even though sometimes the hours are very long.
Yeah,
But doing something that you love with a group of people that are really also really good at what
passionate
they
as
do,
well. Yeah,
passionate at what they do, it
of
really
course.
does spark.
Yeah,
Um, and not to say that I didn't have that at house again,
yeah,
because towards again when I was working on stage 3 and 4 stuff, it had the same feeling.
of course. So, in terms of then making the move, what was the hardest thing? Because we discussed saying London's very expensive. What would you say was probably the hardest thing about adjusting into new life, new lifestyle, new location, new office, new people?
I think it's the change of environment
Okay.
along with
Routine,
not
maybe?
knowing anybody,
Yeah.
because the routine I think you can rebuild.
Okay.
Um, like I'm very sporty, you know that I've got like I'm one of those friends that has like 5 6 hobbies, and then
But football ain't one of them, unfortunately.
yeah, no, not
Yeah.
football, unfortunately. Um, but I think routine you can rebuild.
Okay.
But something very difficult is to build connection,
Mhm.
um, especially when you are in your mid 30s. You know, you have your own idiosyncrasy. You know what you're good for and what you don't want to get involved with.
Yep.
So open up to people or find new people, that's very hard. So there are weekends where I'm just sitting by a coffee shop by myself, and then like read some books, and I'm okay with that. And sometimes it does get lonely.
Mhm.
So the transition towards, and it's only just been 4 months.
Yeah. Wow.
So
It feels a lot longer.
it does. It feels like I've been there for like more than that. So yeah, I would say building connection is probably quite tough. And then I see myself as a extrovert for sure, and I also pride myself with being able to work with anybody.
Okay.
But even then, you would still, I think I can constantly adjust about how I feel,
Yeah.
but I can imagine it would be quite difficult for like someone that's a bit more introverted.
Mm.
I'm not sure. So I think that transition has definitely, when it comes to reality, sometimes I do lay in bed and think,
Oh,
oh,
I made the right decision.
no, not that. Like how good I had it, like having my own place,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not having,
No,
yeah, and
I guess for sort of like a mid-career, I mean, if I was to make a move in at my me at age of 25, 26, it'd probably be slightly different. Hold on, no, I'm not thinking
Can't
the pace
believe
yet.
you're
No,
only
no, no, no.
26.
Because for me, as in going out there and making connections or forging relationships and friendships might be slightly easier, maybe. Because with you now in your mid 30s, you're spending 7, 8 hours within the office, and then you go back to and you're sharing a place. We have mentioned you're sharing a place with Foster's colleagues, so it's a foster home, like you mentioned last time, right? In that joke. But the point is, what are the opportunities like in terms of when you're in London to forge these connections and relationships? Because is it only going to be now architectural related, or how do you go about essentially meeting people that are not within the industry? Because I don't mind it. Most of my friends are within the industry. This conversation is always great. We talk about buildings, we talk about different things, right? But then you're in a new environment, so do your friendships start within the office first, and then people that you stay with, and then how do you then expand and maybe add more new people to the circle?
Personally, it definitely starts within the office
Yeah,
because those are the people that interact with every single day
of course, yeah.
for very long hours.
Hmm.
Um, but someone actually, a good friend of mine, said to me, you're in London, one of the busiest cities in the world
Hmm.
with so many events. So, as a New Year's sort of almost like a resolution,
Yeah.
but it's something that I'm going to do is actually to go for more events.
Hmm.
So visit more RBA events, visit other events that are not architecture related
Okay.
to expand the whole sort of network horizon.
Hmm.
Um, but building that sort of even just to get yourself to do it, it's it's not as easy as it seems because sometimes
Mm.
when you go to places by yourself, you just don't want to do it,
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
and then you have to sort of speak to people.
like your social battery might run out.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the event that we had
Of
At
Fosters.
Foster's,
Yeah,
right?
decarbonizing
The
for architects.
decarbonization. Everybody there was willing to talk.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting. It was actually quite good to see because everyone that comes to these events are actually probably in the same boat.
Hmm.
But then they just come in and they just go, "Hey, what's your name?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? And then like, how you doing? And then why you here?" And then you actually strike a conversation.
Yeah.
But funny enough, for the 3 months, for at least for the probation period, or 4 months now,
Hmm.
I didn't manage to do enough of that
Yep.
because again, I think for me it was a little bit different. I was re-establishing a routine that I've already built,
Yeah.
like in Birmingham, like going to the gym and running or whatever. So I wasn't doing as many events
So
as I wanted to.
so I guess for the first few months you're focusing on yourself as an
Yeah,
individual, get your routine in place, get
yeah,
your systems and orders, get your checks and balances in order, and then now, as part of the next phase of you being in London, is expand your network, I guess,
yeah,
and attend events.
definitely.
Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Attending RIBA events or any other events for that matter might be the next best thing, isn't it?
And there is, like, don't get me wrong, there is a cultural difference.
Okay.
Even between Birmingham and London, there is a cultural difference, I think.
What do you mean?
I feel like again, this is just down to me.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit harder to make connections in London, or
Hmm.
maybe it's because I'm so mindfully comfortable in Birmingham that I can just go out and talk and meet people.
Hmm.
And I think that one of the main reasons that I know where to go, right? But in London, I almost have to, like,
Okay.
you know,
Research.
it's not even the research. It's just like you're in a new city, you're in a complete new place, new environment, new working culture. Um, you're just adjusting.
Hmm.
So for someone seasoned like me, uh, knowing how to interact with people,
Yeah.
still finds it somewhat not easy.
Okay.
And then there's obviously the work culture.
I was just
Yeah.
going to come on to that. So, if you're able to talk a bit more about sort of now the office life, maybe, or what are the trade-offs between when you were in Birmingham to what it's like now working at in the capital city at one of the largest and best practices in the world. What is that shift in culture, and how have you adjusted to it? Because
Work.
sometimes it's not just about having the talent, is it? You've got to have a level of resilience and
Yeah.
drive and passion to also survive in these places.
Yeah. There's definitely a few cultural shock. There's like, in terms of work as well, but I think there's good and bad. I feel like Birmingham and at Howes was a little bit more maybe chilled.
Okay.
Like, everyone's just sort of get on and do their work. Whereas in London, everyone seems to be running from A to B, 100 miles per hour all the time, and it's a given. It's a capital city, and I think if you got to ask your question, is this what you want? And if this is something that you want, because for me, and I'm probably the same question for you, like how many years is enough?
Yeah.
Right. Changing like seasoned architect or me, like I don't think I'm seasoned. I think I'm just more experienced, right? Like a senior architect, I'm not associate level. I'm not direct. Obviously, there are bigger and better challenges when you get to those level. But in terms of just the work, I mean, they're two different companies, while still very triumphant in terms of the design.
Yeah.
But I think with at Foster's, it was just they would not take no for an answer. They would have ideas, crazy ideas, but the first thing is they don't say no. We can't do
If
it.
a structural engineer turns around and says, "Oh no, we can't do this," they'll work closely with them to resolve it, to make it work.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just don't take no for an answer. Even the structural engineer says, we can't cantilever that much, for example. Then we will have to find a solution.
Why? Let's resolve it. Here's 5 different options.
But I think that stems to all the way to like even at Bartlett, it's they have crazy ideas and everything is. I think you can only dare to dream.
If there was one thing you could pinpoint out, so in order to survive or thrive, maybe at practice like Foster's or similar, what is it that you need? Because I'm sure there are many people who have the talent, the raw talent. They may have the digital skills, the software skills, the ability to build hand draw. What's beyond that? What is it that you need to set yourself apart to be a Foster's worthy, or Foster's level, or a Starchitect level employee?
It's actually quite good. Really interesting question again. You're getting better at this, man.
Yeah, man.
You're getting
Research,
better at
bro.
this. Yeah. Nice. I like it. So if people wants to get interviewed by this guy, drop us a message. Anyway, coming back to the question.
Yep.
I think it's deeper than that. It's actually life related. Funny enough, in a big city, I felt when we're there, felt like everyone is trying to be seen.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the main differences I felt. Maybe it's the same case in Birmingham, but I felt even more so in Birmingham.
Yep.
It's that, but I'm not talking about just work. I'm talking about like citywide. Everyone is someone trying to be someone or be somewhere in some sense. And I guess it's how you present yourself. Having the skills is not
it's
enough.
not be all end all. Exactly.
Obviously, if you're super good at something, that would be the key. That's the foundation. But it's also about how you present yourself.
Yep.
And it's also about how you communicate that idea to the simplest way possible, where you stick it on a wall, and then a 2-year-old walking past it be able to understand what you're trying to illustrate. And then the problem, it could be like it could be one of the hardest problems to resolve, but you're explaining it in the simplest ways.
Communication.
Communication.
Okay.
I think that was a big moment for me, and I was very glad that I had prepped it with our podcast, and then not being shy to talk. I think that was it's a huge it's not even a cultural shock. It's just a huge sort of plus.
No, you're right, because look, I mean, even throughout, if you reflect on your educational history so far, when you were as a part 1 student and part 2, what do? It's always down to communication, isn't it? That's what they're trying to instill within us, which is, yes, you can design something, draw something, make a really pretty drawing, but you also have to be able to deliver it within the crypt, make sure you get your points across. Some institutions only allow 8-minute presentations, some of them allow a 10-minute presentation. It's like if you're presenting to a client or a planning department, you won't have an hour. You've got a set amount of time, and you've got to be able to translate everything across. communicate everything across in a set way. So I guess communication probably is a key skill. And you're right. And another thing I think I've learned in the past is, yes, having software skills and having the ability to do something digitally or manually is great, but you also have to have the drive, because sometimes you might be in a position where you don't necessarily enjoy something, but you have to have that resilience and just push through and get over that hurdle, get over that challenge, and then something better might be around the corner. So you're right, communication skills are definitely, I think, is number one, but also I think as a person, you have to have the drive. I'm not a fan at all of having that 9 to 5 mentality, which is, oh yeah, I'm contracted to work from 9 to 5, and that's it. Because sometimes you have to, there are trade-offs. Sometimes you have to give extra hours. I'm not advocating for overtime, by the way, or unpaid overtime here. I'm just saying sometimes you have to have that drive in you to be able to get something done, get it out the door by giving up extra time, and then you can hopefully get that time back at some point. We have to have the understanding with the employer. So I think, yeah, communication is probably key. But then I think at the next point I want to jump on to your I guess what your plans are for the future. So you've made this massive move. You're sort of establishing yourself now within a new city, within a new organization. It's been 4 or 5 months. So what's the next trajectory, I suppose? Do you have a career roadmap now? Because you said earlier on in your career you didn't really have one. So is this something that you've worked towards? Have you curated a career roadmap?
Yes.
Or do you have 1 or 2 things that you want to achieve by a certain point?
Yeah, I think that's probably the better answer for it.
Yep.
Is there actually something that I want to achieve? Again, it all stems down to what type of architects you want to be.
Yep.
And for me, I've always wanted to be a all-rounded architect. I've never really just stay at one stage, and hence why making a change. So looking ahead, I would like to just have something completed.
Okay.
And I think that's probably a difficult thing to do for architects nowadays, is that you design 10 projects, one might get built, one might get completed. I've designed, I don't know, countless now, and there are a few smaller projects that's been built, but that's like more like resi, small projects. And then there are projects that was built that's like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. So at house I was never able to see anything
through
all the way through, which is by no fault of anybody. It's just the nature of the profession. And now with the opportunity that I have at Foster's, is that I am in a stage 4. Well, they actually call it the detail design stage, and there's an opportunity to go on site and actually see it through. So, and I think for me, it's for my own career, I want to have that in the bank, is to see the project all the way through.
Okay.
Well, I haven't actually seen the beginning stage, but at least.
But this is opportunity.
Yeah. At least I got in at stage 3, and then it will be finished. It will be built.
In a few years' time.
In a few years' time, or at least get the construction packages done, and then have a bit more site engagement. And that will probably take another 2 years. But this is interesting though. This is all career. Because for someone at my age, like, there's never just as easy and simple as that, right?
We've got to have a balance between life and work, isn't it?
Yeah, for someone like me who doesn't have any kids or any commitments, exactly, it's easy for you to say, oh, I'm just going to move to London. I'm going to forget about my fam. I'm going to forget about the life that I have in Birmingham. I'm just going to move to London. I'm going to move. I'm going to work on this project, that epic project, and then I don't have anything to worry about. So it probably stems back to the original episodes. What drives it? Why do you make a move now, and why are you moving it in at this point of your life, and in a very comfortable stage? And is it for everybody?
Probably not.
Yeah,
no,
it's not.
I guess you have to weigh up, right, against what situation and what point in life you are. So I don't think it's necessarily to age or the career level that you're working at. I think it's down to your personal state,
personal
situation and commitments. You're absolutely right.
So I'll say this: like, a lot of people have said, "Oh, when you're in your 30s, it's too late to work for a Starchitect company."
I don't think it's ever too late.
I don't think that's the case. I think it all comes down to individual. There are people that I've seen, even that has commitments and family, that have moved for a job, and then from the support of their family, and I think it all comes down to, what do you want? How
Yep.
what do you like? It's for me. It's that constant reflection that I have at my own time.
Yep.
When I was at Howells, even now that I'm at the new company, I still constantly reflect:
That's good.
what type of architect do I want to be?
Hmm.
You know, what do I want to get out of this, and where do I see myself in the next 3 to 5 years?
So if you were to summarize it in like maybe three key points for younger people or people that are maybe feeling similar to what you felt when you were in Birmingham, feeling a bit stuck, feeling unsure about what the next opportunity is. How do you summarize it? So, what is it that you should look for in the new place? Is it maybe personal but also career driven? What advice would you have for young architects who are feeling a bit stuck?
Um,
What things should you measure it against? Almost, what metrics or what
it's it's
characteristics?
it's very much of a personal preference. So
Mhm.
so I mean, like it's not an advice, but
Yeah.
I would say from a personal experience, if you feel stuck,
Yeah.
right, ask yourself, why do you feel
Why?
that way? Is it something that you're not happy with within the practice
Hmm.
or the project you're working on or the people you're working on? Then can you make those changes?
Yeah.
Can you change to a different project that you enjoy? Can you change teams to work with people that you are more you're synergize better?
Yeah.
And can you ask for that pay rise or promotion that you've been longing for
Hmm.
so long? If by for any reason, not no fault of anybody's none of anybody's fault that you can't achieve those things, then ask like why are you here,
Hmm.
right? If the reason for you being here is finish off a project, have it in the bank, then yeah, I've powered through it. I had to power through. I don't know whether it's low pay or working with people that you don't like, because you're gonna work with people that you don't like or
Don't
you
get
can't.
along with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
regardless, whether if it's a new place or a different project.
Hmm.
But it's about professionalism,
Yep.
so you have to keep it professional. Um, so if that thing that you're wanting to achieve is greater than the reason why you need to move, then yeah, I
Okay.
mean finish that thing, and then it comes back down to that reflection again. What type of architect you want to be? I think if you enjoy designing,
Yep.
then design. Then just enjoy what you do.
Hmm.
Do the upfront stage, do the design work, and then when it gets to delivering, you can always give it to a design delivery architect.
Yep.
And if vice versa, if you're more for stage 3 and 4 person, and you just love doing the details and then coordination and stage 3 work, you can always stick stay true to that. So I think the thing is, it all comes down to what you enjoy the most. But
Absolutely.
I always think that you should be a well-rounded architect, at least experienced through all stages,
Yeah.
right? And then to know what is actually for you.
Good point. Let me ask you this then. So you're at a certain point in your career now. If you have to go back all the way to when you're
Hmm.
a little 18-year-old deciding to get into architecture, um, is there anything you'd change? Are you happy with the way how your career's unfolded? Is there something that you'd change, whether it's through education or through the way how you've worked in practice?
Um, I would do whatever I can
Hmm.
to shorten it,
Okay.
right? To get to where I am today, I would do whatever I can to shorten it. So, meaning I would shorten the amount of time it took me to become an architect,
Hmm.
to get qualified, meaning I would do whatever I can to get stuff built, see stuff through on site, just to get a wide range of experience and then an overview
Hmm.
of what the architectural career is like. If architecture is a certain thing is 100% thing, and I don't want to be anything else as an 18-year-old, or as someone going through part one again, I would do the best part one project I can, because I think it really does set you up. You having that amazing part one, part two project, and showcase your portfolio to um,
The best practices.
best practices.
Yeah.
It gives you better opportunities, and then it does make your career, make your life, or make your career, if I may, a little bit shorter. I think
Okay.
not shorter, maybe just because I look at some of the part twos. They're so talented.
Mm.
Even the part ones and at Foster's, they're so talented, all of them. And I wish I had the opportunity to be there
Earlier in your career.
earlier in a career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you might be a different project. But with that being said, I'm completely happy with where I end up right now and how I've ended up here, because it all came down to by choice. Every choice along the way that has led me to where I am today and the architect that I am. So maybe it wouldn't turn out so differently if I, did things differently.
Okay. And then going forward, then what's your next 5 years? I guess you said you want to see a project being built, but is there anything else that you have in your career roadmap you want to achieve to end things off?
Not necessarily like a 5-year roadmap, because I think immediately I want to obviously get something completed. That was the big thing. That will probably take 5 years, it being so long. But it's really hard, because with architecture, you just,
maybe let me reframe that, right? So are you driven by the projects, or are you driven by a title or salary, or a certain award or reward maybe?
It's honestly a combination of things.
Yeah.
It's those three things that I spoke about in the beginning.
Yep.
It's about the type of project.
Yep.
It's about the salary.
Yep.
It's about the reward, and it's about the people you work with, so the company. So all three of those has to click. Definitely, I want to work on the most epic projects. Not that even it doesn't have to be the most epic or the biggest project, but the project that I enjoy,
You resonate with,
that I can make key decisions, that I can call mine or project architect, right? And then obviously with the hard work that you pour in, you want to be rewarded. That comes with the title, that comes with the pay. Exactly. And then lastly, you can't do this by yourself. You have to be in a collaborative environment, meaning you need to be able to work with people that you enjoy working with.
So to end things off then, so if someone, let's say if I was feeling a bit stuck in the practice I'm working at, would you say to me to take that leap and make the move, make the transition, weigh up the options, of course, in terms of personal commitment within city A versus what life would be like in city B? So you just take that leap, or persevere through the tough challenges, through the feeling of being stuck, and communicate those issues with the current employer?
I think if you're feeling stuck and if you weighed up the options and your answers are still, I'm not enjoying it, then for sure take the leap.
Yep.
There's this amazing thing called serendipity, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, by moving around, by going to different places, it creates different opportunities. It creates different experiences. You meet different people, and all it takes is just one of those things to give you unimaginable career, unimaginable next steps. So I think if you're someone feeling stuck, trying different experiences it will definitely give you perspective, and then only then you would know what's for you and what's not for you. And hey, even after going around like different practices, tried out different things, and then it helps you to realize where you started in the beginning was the right place, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with going back to.
Okay. I've got a outro passage. I'll just read it anyway, and we can always change it. So I think in the end, what this conversation really shows is that architecture isn't really a straight line. I know we're putting ourselves drawing the line, and it's not meant to be. Feeling unsettled or having that mid-career pause or break, or like feeling stuck, doesn't mean that you failed. It usually means that you're paying attention and you're reflecting on where I guess you've come and how far you've come within your journey. So whether that leads to a big move, a reset, or just a shift in how you define success, the important part is giving yourself permission to question it. And if you're listening to this and you're somewhere between where you started and where you thought you'd be by now, you're not behind. You're just in it. You're in the process. You're on the journey. So thanks for listening, and hopefully we hope that you've maybe gained something from this conversation. But if you're also one of those people who are feeling stuck, then please do reach out to us. It'd be great to have a conversation.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I think if you're feeling stuck, just message us, and then
message Daz, because he was in that situation.
No, but I mean, like, it's always good to get someone else's perspective, even yours, and message us, and even we can set up a call and then go through why you're stuck and see if there's a solution, and if not, then what's a better way to do it. So I think having conversations, communications, I
think having someone to talk to about your career also is quite important, because from my experience, I can only really talk to people within the office, but they see the same thing that I see.
Yeah.
So, or they might see it slightly differently. But when you speak to someone who's external and you explain everything, it's almost like you're talking to a shrink, but not really. But when you talk to someone external, they might see a different perspective altogether. So if you are feeling stuck for whatever reason, please, feel free to reach out. We don't bite, we don't judge. We're here to help.
So let's end it. Is it a new chapter or a midlife crisis?
I think it's a new chapter. It's a new beginning. It's never a crisis, is it? Because if it's considered and thought through, it's never a crisis, because you've reflected on it, you've made a decision, you've questioned it. So it's a new beginning. It's a change, isn't it? It's not a crisis.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm glass half full, so I will always talk about the positives.
Right. Okay. Do we need to do our outro?
Yeah, let's try it. 3, 2, 1.